Hello and welcome to the Jedi Trials. Only through knowledge and meditation can we know the true way of the cards. Back for episode 40. It's our 40th episode here with Mike, the RebelSpy. What's up, Mike?
Yo, how's it going?
So great. I'm glad you didn't die. You've been sick for like 47 years.
Yeah, I'm still sick, but we're getting over it.
The show must go on, right? And as a special treat for our 40th episode, we have a special guest tonight, Mr. Zach Bunn. How you doing, Zach?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Definitely. Now, Zach, I don't even know if you remember this because it was a while ago, but Jedi Trials episode number 1, you were our special guest when Master Corey Cooley was actually hosting and I was the co-host, and you came on to help us sort of launch Jedi Trials. So 40 episodes later, you're back.
That's awesome. Yeah, I definitely remember that. It's really, I understand why it happens, but a lot of people get really hyped up. They're excited about a thing like Destiny or a game or a topic. They start a podcast and they get like 5 to 10 episodes in. And then they realize that it's a lot of really hard work. And that's about the time that most people stop doing it. So I'm really happy to see you guys have kind of kept on. And obviously, Master transitioning, I don't know the full story there, but then you added Mike.
He died. It was really ugly. No, I'm just kidding.
In that case, a moment of silence. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, I think it's really cool. I've said it a lot on basically every podcast I've been on, which is I really think that community-driven content is a really big part of these communities and part of what makes them great. So keep doing what you do, and we're all better for it, I think.
Yeah, well, we appreciate it, man. Thanks for coming on. We talked a little bit back at Worlds in May, and I think I told you this story, but I'll tell it for everyone else. I was getting texts from random guys that there was like one person at Worlds playing Unpredictable, and there's this ongoing joke on this show that I hate Unpredictable because it lost me 2 different games at the first Worlds of my opponents playing it on a 1 in 6 chance, and I had lethal on their guys, and they played it and got their 1 in 6 chance, and they beat me. And so all I remember from Worlds is of course, like Zach Bunn playing Unpredictable. Of course he is.
Yeah, I'm at least with Han, I'm fond of that card.
Yeah, good old Awakenings Han.
Yeah.
So Zach, we have a couple questions we like to ask anytime we have a guest on here. And normally we ask, hey, who are you and how'd you get into Destiny? But you've kind of said that already. I'm not going to go make you go through all that for everyone. I think most people kind of know who you are. But specific to Destiny, first question is, what card has brought you the most fun in Destiny? And you can define fun in whatever way you want to.
Sure. I felt this way about this card for a long time. I think if I had to pick a favorite card, it's my favorite card. It's the one that I always enjoy playing. I always like watching my opponent react after I play it, and that is Mind Trick.
Yes.
It's been in my decks. I mean, since my first Han Rey deck, that's been in my deck. And I know early on, with Han Rey, for me at least, people weren't expecting that card out of it. So I feel like I got a lot of extra joy because they would not be thinking that I was even remotely had a chance of having that card in my deck. And then when that happens and then they roll 8 dice in, good things happen.
You play it and then they read the card. That's always a great feeling when your opponent reads the card that you just played.
Yeah, well, there was a really great moment in the top 8 of that first Worlds where I don't remember I don't know the exact specifics, but I know it worked out where I had a Rey with 8 damage on her and Han was untouched. And I had one with the Force on Rey. And that was the only upgrade. It was kind of a weird game. And I ended up playing, I had already rolled in with Rey. And I actually had I think a 2 focus, one with the Force dice sitting there. And I hadn't rolled Han in yet. But I played DL44 on top of the one with the Force, removing the die, but getting obviously a shield and 2 actions. And then I used one of my Rey dice to negotiate. So that was 3 dice. And then I Mind Tricked. or I mind tricked first and then negotiated his other dice. So it ended up being that I just cleared his board of dice.
Gross.
And that's still one of my favorite moments because like he felt very comfortably ahead, and then I think it was just 5 dice disappeared off the board, and obviously that's when the game turned in my favor. But yeah, mind trick awesome. Definitely. When I pull off a good mind trick, there's very few cards that make me feel that happy.
Totally fair.
I actually slotted in mind trick sort of last minute in my Ray Ayla deck at Worlds. And I feel like it won me multiple games. Every time I saw mind trick, it was like, okay, thank goodness, you know. Especially like those later rounds when they just roll out characters and they've got, you know, 5 dice on each and dropping a mind trick. It saves you a turn. It's really great. So I love that. Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say late game with mind trick, if you effectively have a if one-on-one, once you have 3 upgrades and you don't really have anything to do with your money, that's usually the biggest bang for the buck because like they'll roll in 5 dice a lot, and then you just pay 2, take away 3 of their dice. That's a huge play, obviously.
Yeah, that's awesome. So next question would be so mind trick's probably the most fun, but what character or support would you like to see come to Destiny? So something in the Star Wars universe that we haven't seen yet, but you would love to see come to Destiny.
Man, you know what? It's funny. We were having this conversation a couple weeks ago, and I remember having a very strong opinion about this question. Let me. I wish I had prepared for this. This is a big question.
Put you on the spot.
Yeah, it's a big.
Well, while you're thinking about it, Mike and I always talk about creatures. We both want a Rancor.
Yeah, Rancor is
sort of like our go-to.
Yeah, that's like my number one right now is Rancor and Malakili.
I'm totally cool with those. What I don't want is did you guys play the Star Wars LCG?
I did.
Yeah, briefly.
There was a good cycle there where basically the Sith faction only got creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was not my favorite.
No.
A bunch of it's like my Sith objective set is some creatures.
There's so many like cool creatures that they could pull from. It's just super weird that it was just like Sith, just random creatures that I've never heard of before. But maybe they're like a EU thing that I just don't know about.
You got to roll real deep to hear about that. Really deep. The thing that would make me happiest to be in Destiny would be like a super playable version of Vader, like in the suit Vader, not like baby Vader or Anakin. That would probably be my like if I could pick anything right now, I would do that. Secondarily would be a more playable version of Ahsoka. She's one of my favorite characters.
Yeah.
I already have a good Yoda, so I'm happy there. I don't know. I mean, and there's a lot of EU stuff. I am looking forward to seeing what they do with Thane from Lost Stars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how we have Sienna and haven't had Thane yet.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense. You should be able to play them together on the same team, regardless of whether Thane and Sienna are like, hero and villain.
Well, maybe because
that'd be an interesting mechanic.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert, by the way, for anyone listening who hasn't read Lost Stars. So the thing is, Thane defects, right, from Imperial to Rebel.
Mm-hmm.
So he could just be like a neutral character, IMO. So that way you could play him with Sienna.
Could happen. Could be a thing.
Or like, if they're going to continue the trend, if we ever get more draft starters, which I hope that we do.
Oh, yeah.
Way to segue to the main topic here. He'd be a pretty good little neutral character. I'd take him.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be super into that.
Yeah. Although I think some Ewoks would be pretty sick too.
Well,
I could get down with some Ewoks. You know what? Hey, another card I really want to see is a Snowtrooper.
Oh, yeah, that would be sweet.
Yeah, they have Snowtroopers in like every other FFG game, but not Destiny. I was thinking about that the other day too.
We need like Snowtrooper, Flame Trooper, Arc Trooper, Shock Trooper, all the troopers.
Yeah. Well, if we get one trooper a set, we still got to get 8 sets in us before we have to get back to Stormtrooper.
Yep.
Yeah. Seriously. Well, since you alluded to it, Zach, let's move into kind of our main topic while we have you tonight, and that's talking about Covenant Masters. I know Mike was able to come out last weekend for the event, and we talked about it briefly last week, but maybe in just like a minute, could you just do an overview of what Covenant Masters is?
Yeah, sure. At its simplest form, Covenant Masters is a series of qualifiers that leads to an invitational event. So the top 6 players from every qualifier make it to the big invitational event at the end. And the format of the event is draft for Star Wars Destiny. So there's 9 rounds. Players draft before round 1. After they play 3 rounds of Swiss, they draft again. They play 3 more rounds of Swiss, they draft again. Play 3 more rounds of Swiss, then we cut to a top 6, and they actually draft again and play another 3 rounds of Swiss. But the idea for the event really came out of wanting to really push the draft format. I'm a huge fan personally. I'm a huge fan. You know, we're an online and local retailer of games, and our whole mission and what we're trying to do and what we're about is trying to make it as easy as possible for people to get into these games and get involved in these communities. So a lot of times the events and the tournaments and stuff are heavily focused on like the winner and competitive play and like, constructed and just that normal, I'm sure what everyone listening is used to. And so everything from our weekly league night all the way to even a kind of crazy big event series that we're putting on, keeps that in mind, where draft is the great thing about draft, right, is it's the equalizer. You don't need to own anything to play besides a draft starter. You don't really prepare for it in the same way. Like if you don't have a lot of time to like play test decks and play against all the meta decks and stuff, you're not really at a disadvantage there. If you don't know all the cards, you're not necessarily at a disadvantage. If you don't own every set, you're not at a disadvantage. And then even one of the coolest things for me about it, because this was the first one that we hosted, the one that Mike was at, is the lack of tension in the air the night before and the morning of the event. Because, players aren't concerned about, am I picking the right deck? Or do I need to practice some more? Did I pick the right card? And then all the way to the reality that draft is just kind of a more social experience. When you draft with 6 people, you're passing cards around, you're talking, you're filling time with just conversation, and then you get paired against people and you play against them, and then you might draft for them later, and so on. So that's kind of the thesis of Covenant Masters. Make draft a real, not make it, but at least give people a look at what draft would be like if it were a legitimate format, and then create an event series that ultimately anyone can be a part of, even a lot of people on the periphery of Destiny who got in early but couldn't keep up, or have maybe been thinking about getting in but aren't ready to go to like a store championship or a regional because they don't own cards or they haven't had time to really hone their craft. Yeah,
that's awesome. I absolutely would have been there if it was within driving distance. Mike just goes everywhere, so that's his thing. But I'm glad you mentioned sort of like the vibe of the event being draft, because you can't really prepare in the traditional sense. Because that was going to be one of my questions: is what was the overall vibe? Does it feel like a store champ or a regional, or is it just something unique in its own? And it sounds pretty unique in that because you can't prepare because of just the nature of draft, and a little less cutthroat, a little bit more relaxed. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I mean, I would love to get Mike's take on this, given he was there, but it was definitely, I mean, people wanted to do well because there were prizes, and there were some prizes for doing well. And obviously the top 6 qualify for the big event at the end. So that's something people are really interested in doing. But at the same time, you can only be so serious about it, if that makes sense. So I don't know. To me, it felt like it was kind of, it had equalized it where people were as interested in just playing the game and having a good time as they were winning. And the other thing that was kind of interesting about the first one, at least, was because Way of the Force hadn't come out and it had been so long we had a set come out ultimately. That was a part of it too, because it's like, it's also not necessarily cards a lot of people are after unless they're new. So, you know, it's like if all day long you're drafting and the guy next to you gets Yoda and you don't, when a set's new, it's like that could be as frustrating as winning or losing. But I think that's also where like there's victories in other ways, right? Which is like you end up playing cards you've never played before. You also end up getting to keep a lot of cards, right? You're drafting. So I went down. It was really cool because like the last round, the bottom 2 or 3 tables, actually 2 or 3 of the players had a Yoda that they drafted in that last like pod or whatever. And so it's, you know, even you can have a good time and you can lose all your games, but like still feel like you came out on top, which is cool. And that's one of the things for us. It's like at a big event, right? There's only one person that wins, but there's usually 30, 40, 50, 80 people at an event. So we really wanted to support the notion of like, if you just show up, you're going to get a lot of cool stuff and you're going to have a really great time. And then there's going to be some stuff for winning, but that's even kind of shown in the only real difference between winning and getting 6th place, which is making the cut, is the winner gets like a wooden version of the character board that the top 6 got. And so 2nd through 6th is kind of the same. So even when you cut to 6 and they're drafting together, the intensity there is not even as high as it would be in like a lose and go home scenario in like a top cut.
Yeah. That's awesome. Mike, any thoughts you would add?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. Like the vibe of it was much different from, you know, especially at regionals. Like store champs, last year were fairly relaxed, especially at the beginning when everyone was still kind of feeling it out. But like, just like the energy in the room was just way different. Like we were drafting and we were all just kind of joking around about each other's picks, and like you can see all the dice in the middle of the table, so you know exactly like what everybody picked from each pack, especially like the first pack. And I mean, if you don't exactly know, like you have a good idea, and then a card comes around you and you're like, whoa, how the hell did this make it all the way back around to me? And just that, like having entertaining conversations like that and like funny conversations just like while we were drafting, like totally ease the tension of the event. Cause it's like, I've drafted Magic before, where like, it's just dead silence, like throughout the entire thing, the entire time. It's just like,
yikes.
The tension there is real. Whereas the tension at Covenant Masters was just non-existent. It was just, everyone was there to have fun. Everyone was there to like, you know, hang out with friends and draft at the same time. And like, yes, I wanted to do well. But I wasn't, I mean, I never feel like cutthroat about it, but I especially didn't in this scenario.
Yep. Yeah. I've always loved draft. And I think especially in draft, when you lose, it doesn't have the same effect as like in like a standard constructed where you put all the time into creating this deck and putting every single card, you made every single choice. Mm-hmm. And then you still lost versus a draft. Like, hey, I just threw this together with what was passed to me. Like,
it feels
there's
way,
a level
way different.
which,
yeah. It feels way different to like to get beat in draft than to get beat. You know.
Yeah, it's almost like less personal. Because like if you worked really hard on a deck and you drive 3 or 4 hours to an event and then you play and then you lose, it's like that's obviously way more disappointing than just like feeling like you didn't draft well, kind of a thing. Yeah. And also, like, the other thing, part of why I love draft, right, is that the game itself is more fundamental in draft. And so what I find, at least against players who are somewhere in parity of skill, right, like they're maybe within a derivative either direction of my play skill, the games are usually super close. Like, it's rarely a blowout. So even 2 super equally paired players in constructive, I think could have a blowout just based on a bad matchup or a really good opening hand, etc. But in draft, that almost never happens. Where you just like, I remember I played against Mike, and I had probably the best opening hand of the day against Mike. Like my opening turn was just like, I think I mulliganed a card, and then I got a card I wanted off the mulligan. And I remember, I think I got like 4 cost and upgrades on the board on turn 1. And maybe a Bespin Wingard on the board. Like, it was just wild. And then he beat me. So really cool.
And it was extremely close, like the entire game too, which was
it came down to like a card or 2.
I'm pretty sure I had like 1 card left in my hand.
Yeah, and the funny thing too is, so we were in the last draft, right? So we played 6 rounds, and we seat people to draft based on their record. So all the top record players are drafting together at the end, and all the players that haven't had such a great day are drafting together at the end as well, which is cool. Because it's the great thing of Swiss is you eventually are on connected with the players that are probably around your play skill. But both of the top 2 tables when we were drafting, so basically the top 12 players, I think the boxes we were drafting were very weird. They were kind of light on control and heavier on mill. And I think there were a good 8 of us that were basically forced to draft into a mill deck going into the last 3 rounds of the event. And so that's like me and Mike were playing against each other. And I think your deck was slightly better at mill, but I had a little more damage going on. And then I just couldn't quite do enough damage in time. But anyways, it was super close. And the thing about draft is that I feel like my games against good players typically feel that way. I actually live streamed my top cut games on the Team Covenant Facebook page. And, even the games where I was way ahead, I won 2 out of 3, but where I felt way ahead, if you watch the games, it's like, we're talking like less than 5 health usually is the difference maker in the game. And it's the kind of things where, like, in constructed, right, defeating a character a turn earlier than your opponent is a big deal. But like in draft, like defeating a character with an upgrade on it a turn early can just be insane. So like it's just this, it's a very unique format, and it's my favorite way to play Destiny right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, the weird combinations, and even just the hero villain restriction, being lifted for something. It's kind of weird because you're like, this doesn't make any natural sense, but then that's where you see weird, just fun stuff happen. Like last weekend, I was playing a draft and I played Wedge, Afra, Jawa, and it was just thinking about those 2 together. Like, this makes absolutely no sense, but
that's awesome.
But the way that Wedge was like focusing the vehicles, and Afra, I drafted BT1 and the BB9E, and I had this droid vehicle support army of a deck, and I was like, this is hilarious. Like, this would never be, you couldn't obviously play this outside the draft, and I just really love that. So speaking of that, were there any like fun pairings or surprise decks that you saw do well? Anything that you looked at and you just thought, man, that's hilarious, or wow, I didn't expect that to do so well, but they just kind of tore through the competition in one of the pods?
Oh man, I don't know that there were necessarily any weird ones. I know Philip, the guy who won in the top cut, drafted Obi-Wan and played him.
Wow.
It was Obi. I forget the mix up, but I think he was running 3 colors with Obi-Wan, which is fortunate. Because you need to basically...
So you got like a battle droid or something?
I want to say it was... I'll have to look. I feel like it was like a Jar Jar.
Like an 8 cost and a Jar Jar, probably.
Jar Jar, yeah. I think it was Jar Jar and like a clone trooper, maybe? Or something like that.
Oh, that's nice.
But that was pretty cool. Also, Travis, who also made the cut, he had a 4-wide deck that was pretty brutal. I think in the last draft pod... I'm not sure when that happened. And the other thing about playing 12 rounds of draft in the same day is that you kind of forget what happened.
Yeah.
100%. I do remember that there were, I think, like 2 or 3 people that played Elite Hondo. Like.
Oh yeah, Travis did have Elite Hondo. There was the two most notable. So Travis had Elite Hondo. I actually played against 2 Elite Hondos in the Swiss, which is crazy.
Yeah, you gotta get it twice, right?
Yeah. And then I also played against. Was it you, Mike, who had the Elite?
I had Elite Palpatine.
That's it. Yes, you had Elite Palpatine. That was crazy town.
Yeah.
Yeah, Elite Palpatine Lobot.
That is wild. I remember you were.
It went much better than I thought it would. That was my first draft of the day, and I was feeling like I was like already behind because I drafted such a weird team, and I was just like, all right, well, I'm gonna go 0-3 and then work my way from the bottom. But it actually was pretty decent, so I was happy about that.
I remember you you had your cards laid out, and you were basically like contemplating Elite Palpatine or some 3-character pair. I don't remember what it was. And it was just like, man, you drafted 2 Palpatines. Like, you have to go for it. But as it turns out, his 12 health is really good. His die is really good.
Mm-hmm.
And his ability, like, I still think he's underrated. He just doesn't have the right partner yet. But, like, if there was a card that said power action, gain a resource, people would run that character. And so, like, his max is, like, power action, gain 2 or 3 resources. But, like, for me, I ended up playing... I played Palpatine. I'm not sure where. I played Palpatine in the
in your mill draft. You played Palpatine.
So I ended up playing Palpatine in my last draft, and I consistently would just like roll in Palpatine with an upgrade and have like 1 damage showing, and I wouldn't have any money, but like my opponent would do things as though I couldn't play 1-cost control cards, and then I would just be like power action, control that die kind of a thing. But yeah, I mean, even for 1 money, like, especially in draft, because, like, he's probably, if you have control and he lets you afford to build your board and play control cards, he's going to last probably 3 turns. And, like, that's a lot of, like, 3 control cards extra in draft is a whole lot of damage that you probably prevent.
Yeah, very true.
Yep.
Yeah, when I played him, I drafted a 3 steps ahead and a Law and Order, and like power, like using the power action on either of those felt so good.
Yeah, and Law and Order in draft to just lose an upgrade, I mean, that hurts.
Yeah, it hurts a
lot. You work so hard to get like 1 upgrade out.
Especially when your opponent only has to pay like 1 money for it.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Absolutely. Zach, I know we only have you for a few more minutes, so next question would be your I know in a few weeks you're going to do like the next qualifiers for Covenant Masters, and obviously you'll have Way of the Force in your hands, and that's going to be obviously completely different and probably really exciting. So
yeah,
let's say Zach, you're sitting down for your first pod and you're cracking open your first 3 Way of the Force packs. What dice cards are you hoping to see the most?
I really like the Blade of Mortis. It's got redeploy. Ezra's lightsaber is great. It's got redeploy. I'm trying to think of the character that I would want the most. Probably Sebulba.
Interesting.
I'm trying to run through the characters. Yeah, I like that you're interested by my answer.
I mean, like he does fit the you know, like the point slot really well.
Yeah, so he's a 9-point red,
Anakin.
Which means I can run Anakin and Ketsu, and I think Anakin's a crazy draft card for me. But he also has that ability to either put or remove a resource from a support. And supports are a really important part of draft, just the vehicles and the various support cards you might play. And then there's that 2-cost red card that you can get rid of discard a support that has a resource on it. Right. That I think no one that doesn't have Sebulba is going to draft. And so to me, that's kind of like a miniature Law and Order that only my deck is probably going to take advantage of. And I don't think anyone's killing Sebulba first, so I really like that. And he fits the 9-point slot. But, you know, Ezra's not bad, but I prefer Anakin still. I was trying to think of the red characters that I like. The Gungan's fine. Boss Nass is fine. What are
the Gungan is great for the point cost. To have a 6-cost character and give you some flexibility. And it has no pay sides, just black, you know.
If you also draft kind of a beefier character, then I really like the Gungan. But obviously, I'm looking for 9-point or less characters, and I'm looking for upgrades. And then the upgrades of the redeploy are just gravy.
Yeah.
So, I think that's what I'm looking for. There's no so in Legacies, it was like Yoda, Isla, and Talzin were all like primo. I would happily draft any of those very quickly. I'm not sure there's characters on that level because, you know, like Luke's a little bit too expensive. Ezra's not better than Anakin. I don't have the list of characters in front of me. Grievous is expensive.
I do feel like Cassian will be on that level because he slots in damage or mill. You can go either direction, and he's only 10 cost for 1 die.
Yeah.
And that's immediate. I mean, you can go Lobot Anakin with that and have Rainbow just by drafting Cassian.
Yeah, if I liked playing Lobot at all, I would agree with you.
Yeah. Oh, I've never played Lobot, and I've done probably 12 Legacy drafts.
Yeah, I'm sure he's all right. I just can't do it. Like my brain just doesn't work that way. I don't know what it is.
I'm with you there. I'm with you. Well, Zach, I want to be respectful of your time. We appreciate you coming on. Any final thoughts on either Covenant Masters or any plugs you want to do before you head out?
Sure. So the next Covenant Masters is on July 21st, Covenant Tulsa. If you aren't already aware of it, check it out. We'll be doing, a handful more qualifiers before the Invitational. So there's a couple chances. Outside that, if you haven't drafted yet, I really recommend it. I think it's worth your time. It's a super fun way to play Destiny. It's really a great way to get new players into the game. And then, of course, thanks again to you guys for having me on. If you're listening to this and you create community content, I would just say please keep doing it. I try to listen to as much of it as I can, but I think the whole community is better for it. So I applaud your effort. I know how hard it is, especially when you are making little to none money doing it and you're spending countless hours. Like I totally get how hard it is. So thank you for doing that to everyone listening, to you guys in particular, and thanks for having me on. And hopefully I'll get to come back on the show at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. Well, that's it, guys. Be sure to check out Team Covenant and all the great stuff they're doing. I know we just started a brand new league with starter decks, and I'll explain it later, but we've got a lot of new players jumping in, and I send every single one of them to your YouTube channel and just say, hey, go watch the How to Play Destiny and Intro to Destiny videos on there, because it's just really good quality and great to send new people. So that's another little plug for you guys. But again, Zach, appreciate it. And we'll definitely have you on soon.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
All right. Well, we still have a little bit of content to hit before we wrap this thing up. This past weekend, Mike, I did go to a local store championship. It was last of the legacies meta. And I think we were all kind of sad. We're like, yay, legacies tournament. This will be fun.
Yeah.
So I was texting with you and Jay and Chris, and I didn't know what to play. And I didn't know. I was like, how seriously do I take this? And
you decided to take it very seriously.
Well, hold on. But okay, so we built, as a group, we built this Finn Han, quick draw, hit and run, action cheating, aggressive deck.
Awesome fun red hero deck.
Red hero, yeah, which sings to my heart. And I literally got up early on Saturday morning and I built the whole thing. I got all the dice together. And then I got to the store, sat down.
You ready to play it at the store? You brought the deck and everything?
Yeah, I brought it with me and everything. And then literally 2 minutes before it started, I completely chickened out. I said, I can't do this. I played it once on TTS that morning. I won against Yoda Lando.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing, and I don't want to be frustrated at the end of the day. So I dug back into my backpack and pulled out a good and trusty Ray Ayla deck from Worlds that got me to the top 8 there.
Oh, man.
and I did it. So what's funny is first round I get paired up against Heath from Cincinnati. He had just won the GQ up at Origins.
Oh, nice.
And so I knew okay, this is going to be an uphill battle. He was running Sabine Yoda, and he just tossed me, man. It was the second action of the turn. He did 8 damage to Ayla,
wow.
And it was okay, yep. So I got whooped my first round against him, but I did manage to climb out of the salt mines there, and I won the rest of my games, and actually got paired up against Heath in the top cut. Again, I got my revenge,
nice.
And then played against my buddy Will in the finals, who was running Thrawn Talzin, and just won that one. So I managed to get my regional buy card from winning a store championship, got my Ahsoka first place card, and
nice,
all the fun stuff with that.
So now for the rest of the store championships, you're just gonna have fun.
I mean, it kind of feels like I can. This happened in Spirit Rebellion, the other store champs, because Spirit Rebellion dropped.
Right, yeah, you played Po Maz, and then you won a store championship.
That's right. So I won a store championship like the first weekend. It was like 36 players, and then the rest of and I had like 3 more store champs, and I brought complete jank to all of them to see how well I could do, and I didn't care at all. So nice. I do sort of feel like I can be adventurous with Wave of the Force stuff.
Well, that's good, because you should, after playing like back to back, just like top tier meta decks at every tournament.
Okay, no, not every. It's not back to back. It's back to back. It's Worlds and Store Champ. That's the only time I played
Worlds, Store Champs, Worlds.
Yes,
Store Champs.
Well, like, there's a lot of pressure, with being a host of a podcast about a little game called Destiny.
I was unaware of this, so I'm going to keep playing my Jar Jar decks.
Yeah. I mean, you top 8'd. I don't know how to say that. You made top 8 at a 100-person regional with Jar Jar. Like you've done what you need to do. So
true. I can just coast the rest of the way.
That's right.
And I intend to.
So I'm gonna get Way of the Force, and I'm really gonna just bring some crazy stuff. And so I'm just gonna put Dagger of Mortis and Ezra's lightsaber into Rey and just keep playing it.
Sounds like a good idea.
Just kidding, guys.
It's a recipe for winning games right there.
No, man. I'm taking Rex to whatever.
Oh yeah. If you don't take Rex to the next store champs, I would be very sad and very surprised.
Yeah. I need to win something with Red Heroes. It just bothers me that
it's been so long.
Like ever. What do you mean it's been so long?
Well,
ever?
I mean, you probably won.
Well, I guess Poe. I never considered Poe Ma as a Red Hero.
That's true.
It was just because it was like a god tier.
It transcended color and affiliation.
It really did. So that doesn't really count. But
yeah, true.
So that's what I've been up to. What have you been up to?
Play more YouTube video games. I'm trying this new thing now that all the Way of the Force cards are out on TTS, where every day that I release a video, it's going to be a completely different deck. And I'm just going to try a bunch of random, weird, fun stuff that I think will be cool and entertaining. So I'll be doing that for the next little bit, and then hopefully people will find that interesting. I'm also thinking about doing like a set review, kind of like going through all the different cards and like splitting it up into a couple videos, and like maybe doing like a villain review and then a hero review and then a neutral review, like maybe. So if anybody be interested in that, let me know, and I'm thinking about it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. Man,
new deck every day. I wish I could do that. It takes me so long to learn a deck to do anything good with it.
I'm the complete opposite. I have such ADD when it comes to deck building and like playing my decks that I don't think I've ever actually played a Star Wars Destiny deck more than like 10 to 20 times. Like ever.
Yeah.
So including my tournament decks, because when I finish the tournament, I'm just done with that deck, and I like don't practice as much as I should because I have such ADD about it. So hopefully other people will find my flaws entertaining.
Yeah. No, I love it, man. It's been fun starting to produce videos for YouTube for the Jedi Trials page.
Yeah.
And putting yourself under the microscope and letting people see how many misplays you can make in 20 minutes is a lot of fun.
It's a thing for sure. I like you really do though. Like you learn a lot about how you play the game.
It's like, okay, yeah, that's
like I miss the shields on the Shoto lightsaber like maybe 1 in 10 times.
Yep.
If I'm lucky.
Yeah, that's how you get coaching in this game, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Just trying to produce some more YouTube videos. Same deal. Been playing some Cassian double partisan as well,
nice.
Like damage style, not mill style, and that's a lot of fun. I think that deck has some wheels to it. So
yeah, for sure.
When you can play endless like easy pickings and tangles, second chances, rebels.
Yellow feels pretty good.
Feels okay. But yeah, that's awesome, man. And then you're going to a GQ this weekend.
I am. That's true. Yeah, it's the Los Angeles Galactic Qualifiers at the Anime Expo. So unfortunately, I had to buy a ticket to Anime Expo to be able to go to this thing, but it's 4 days. So I'm doing 2 Trilogy events, 2 standard events, and then hopefully a bunch of Way of the Force drafting. So I'm hoping that it's that they have enough product for everybody to draft all weekend, because that sounds like a blast.
Yep, absolutely. I'm kind of bummed. I have not been to a GQ yet, and I wish I could, but Worlds was a big enough trip. Because I would personally just love to play trilogies. Like I'm so intrigued by that format, and I love it. It feels so different than normal standard, and I just
it totally is. It's an awesome format. I was about 10 minutes before we started recording, I was playing like 3 or 4 trilogy games with Tiny, because he's going as well. So we're just trying to brush up on our trilogies to be prepared for this weekend, and it's just such a fun format.
Yep. Just make sure you play the best card in trilogies. You know what that is?
Jar Jar?
Absolutely not. It's Bubble Shield, man. Bubble Shield.
Bubble Shield's really good. Yeah, I'm tempted to. So I'm at least one of the trilogy days I'm gonna bring my Jar Jar mill deck, and one of them, I'm tempted to swap out the Partisan for Rose just so that I can play Bubble Shield and maybe like Mend or something.
Yeah. I'm telling you, with the Talzin double vets that people love to play in trilogies, you know, when that hits that 3
3 indirect side,
it doesn't hurt as bad when you're like, I'll just take it on the Bubble Shield.
Yep. Very true.
So that seems good. But yeah, man, crazy couple of days with Thursday, Way of the Force dropping, and GQs for 4 days.
It's crazy. Yeah.
A lot of Destiny.
It's gonna be a lot of Destiny.
Yeah. So with the Way of the Force coming out, we were talking a little bit beforehand, because we were talking about Mill, and it kind of feels like Mill is going to just continue to get better with this new set, specifically like new Leia looks pretty stinking legit.
Yeah, I put out a video today that was Leia Yoda, and I won't like spoil how I won the game, but just go watch it. It was insane. That deck is crazy, and I love that deck so much right now. It's so fun. So are you gonna get on this mill train?
So you know I'm like the red hero guy, so I can't not
Leia's
play
red hero.
Leia.
Yeah.
So I guess I could play like Leia Riken or something, I guess.
You know what you should play?
You
should play Leia Akbar.
Hey, oh my gosh, Leia Akbar is back. I never thought about that.
Like, just for fun. Like,
yes.
Resolving the discards and then dealing 2 damage with Akbar's ability. Seems really bad, but also could be really fun.
Unless you're going to time at a store champ and you're like, oh, I did more damage. Sorry.
Well, no. Like you don't have to play it as a mill deck. You just use Leia's dice to deal damage with Akbar's ability. It's super good, man. You should play it.
Oh, obviously. Well, okay. So, Leia is extremely good because of one particular card from Awakenings that has not seen play until now, called Commando Raid.
So good. So good.
We've been talking about that since Awakenings. Like, this card is going to be insane once like red gets consistent like discard sides.
Yep.
So be prepared for insane Commando Raids from Leia. But Mike, I am really upset though, because before Leia Commando Raid Yoda decks came out, I really believe I had the best Commando Raid deck that's been made.
Stop.
It's true. You know what that deck was?
No,
right?
What deck was it?
It was K2 Akbar.
No, it was not K2 Akbar.
Yes, it was K2 Akbar. You've got 3 character dice with discard.
And then when you pull that
discard on K2, you just drop down that Commando Raid and discard 3, and Akbar gets the damage.
Garbage.
It's insane. It's insane.
Garbage.
So I'm a little sad that Leia might outshine the K2 Akbar Commando Raid deck. But
so besides C-3PO, is there any other red hero like dice card that has a discard side? Maybe Rebellion Leader.
Oh yeah, Rebellion. That's a card.
But other than that, like literally the only card that I would play Commando Raid with is Leia.
Like, yeah, Scout doesn't, because Scout just has the specials, right?
Mm-hmm. Man, if Scout had a discard side, Scout would be so much better. Not that it's bad, but it would be insane.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I don't know. I can't think of any. So that's cool.
So there you go.
Does the Rebel Commando have?
He does have a discard side, yeah.
There you go for your Commando Raid.
There you go. Yeah.
Solving the problems of the world. I tried a triple Rebel Commando deck right when it came out. Spoiler alert! It wasn't very good.
Vividly remember driving and listening to the episode where you were talking with Corey about that deck.
I was like, at the time with C-3PO coming out, I was like, man, you're all C-3PO on a Commando. You
always have removal. Yeah,
because you can just drop the special and it's like remove a die.
Mm-hmm.
And you could remove a die, you just couldn't do any damage that round.
Well, that was back when SOR first had come out, and we had not 100% realized that 3 dice were bad because Vader Raider had just won Worlds. So yeah, and that was also when you were getting like U-winged and thermal detonatored by Pomaz, yeah.
So
great times all around.
Yeah. Man, it's good to reminisce. It's good to remember the old days before a new set comes out. So we remember like the things we tried and the things that never worked.
Remember the trials that the community has gone through to get us here.
Yeah. All these new people jumping in, like, you just need to respect our history. Okay, people. Like,
get off the house's lawn.
Oh man, good times. Good times. Speaking of new people, we started a new league here, and it's pretty cool. And we had 20 people come out already. I think there's like 5 people joining this week.
That's awesome.
And it's a 10-week league, and you get a Boba starter or a Luke starter. You can bring your own. You don't have to buy it there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's $5 to get in the league. And then you start by buying 6 packs on week 1. And it's sort of like sealed. You have your starter deck that you choose, and then your 6 packs, and you make a deck, and you just play. And you can play anybody in the league once during that 7-day streak, anytime at the store. And you get 2 points for a win, 1 point for a loss. So it kind of rewards just playing games. And then every week on Tuesday, it starts a new week, and you can buy 3 more packs of Legacies or Way of the Force when it comes out.
That sounds awesome.
To add to your deck. So it's sort of like an escalation league, which I always loved escalation tournaments for X-Wing, for those who play X-Wing. And so we had like 6 or 7 brand new players come out and just start playing, which was really cool. And we had some guys come back that have been gone for a while, and it's really cool.
That's awesome. Man.
So, and we're following draft rules about no hero villain restrictions, just color restrictions and number of cards. So you can still only play 2 cards of 2 copies of something.
Got it.
So my week 1 deck was Boba Vet, 1 die Boba, 1 die Vet Trooper, and then 1 die Ayla Secura.
Oh my god! Of course you pull Ayla.
It was pretty.
What do the people do who didn't pull a character?
Well, you have your starter deck, so you just run.
But they're 20 points, right?
Well, yeah. They're just. They pulled. You got 6 packs, so everyone pretty much got at least one character.
Okay.
Some people just didn't. Some people just stuck with their normal characters just because the pairings weren't perfect. But if it was bad, they're about to get 3 more packs.
Right in the upcoming week.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So hopefully, so my friend Marcus, he opened up like all blue. He opened up a new Palpatine. He opened up a Yoda.
Oh wow.
but got like no blue events or anything. So he could do like Obi-Wan Elite Luke with it because he did the hero starter,
Right.
Which seems pretty cool.
That sounds
but
pretty interesting.
He could only get up to like 22 cards or something in his
gotcha.
deck. And he was just worried about getting milled out.
Yeah, makes sense. In a format like that, getting milled is a real concern.
Yeah. So far it's been fun. I played against my buddy Will a couple of days ago, and it was funny. I posted this on Facebook, but in my 6 packs, I got 2 Scorched Earths, and
nice.
And I used both of them to win a game where he rolled out like 5 dice as Scorched Earth, and then he rolled out 5 dice
and you Scorched Earth again,
and I just killed him. Like I didn't even roll out a character.
That's awesome.
So
that feels
he's
good.
like, how the heck did you get 2 Scorched Earth?
Yeah, isn't that uncommon?
It is, yeah. And what's funny is I bought 3 Legacies boxes and I only got 1 Scorched Earth,
well,
and then I get
now you got 3.
I had to go like buy. Yeah, I get 2.
That's awesome.
So, anyways, it's a cool format if you're looking for something to like for new people, especially with the way the 4 is dropping. It's a good chance to do something. I'll probably report in more results of the league, but like I said, it's going pretty well so far.
That sounds like a ton of fun. I might have to see if I can set that up somewhere around here, so we can try to get some more new people into the game.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, we're kind of hitting that near the hour mark, so I don't want to spend too much time. I do want to take a moment, talk to our Patreon people. The rewards for those who were with us in June and got charged 1st of July, like yesterday, will be receiving their rewards in the next week and a half. We're kind of waiting on one of the things to be done. But Mike, you've made a little something for the $5 tier. Is that correct?
Yeah. So we've got the Obi-Wan cards. That let me see if I can get the camera to focus on. Probably not. Maybe. Hey, we did it. So you've got these nice Obi-Wan custom cards that I made for the $5 people and the $10 people as well. So I'll be sending those out soon, along with another reward that we have not talked about yet for the $10 people.
That's right. So we've been working with a friend of mine in Cincinnati, Jason Brown. He just started a brand new Etsy store called On Beam, ON space BEAM. You can look them up on Etsy, or they've got a Facebook page. And he is creating some killer tokens right now. And we kind of worked with him to create a custom power action token of Bendu from Star Wars Rebels. And as the Jedi Trials podcast, I'm so excited to have Bendu because there's nothing says like power action token like Bendu's giant face.
Yes.
So I would love to just send one of these to Mr. Chip's front door and him open it and be completely confused. I think that would be fantastic. But for those who have seen Rebels, I think you'll appreciate it. I think it looks pretty cool. If you're running Bendu's Lair, awesome. And if not, you can use them for any power action. I think it's going to be cool for our $10 tier to do that. So make sure you check out Jason's Etsy store. Like I said, he's creating a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, he has he made these Porg shield tokens that I've already bought like too many of because I will only ever use those as shield tokens from now on.
Yeah. They look so cool.
They're the best things ever.
So anyway, so thanks to Jason. And so be looking out for those. Once we get those, we'll be sure to ship those out. Any other thoughts on? I do want to take a moment and thank our new Patreon pledgers. Since last time, we've got Caleb Pennick. I can't remember if he was on last time or not, but our good friend Kanan Jarris. For those who have been to any event. Haley Furnow, Sarah Evans, Scott Irwin, and Symbio. Thanks so much for pledging. Whether it's $1, $5, or $10, man, we appreciate it so much. It means a ton to us, and it's just more motivation to get more content out, more podcasts, more YouTube videos,
Mhm.
and just keep promoting this game.
Absolutely.
So, cool. All right. Well, be sure to check out InsideTheForce.com. Our producer Dave co-hosts a podcast on Star Wars fandom. It's awesome. So go look them up. We're also on theJediTrials.com, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, wherever you listen to podcasts. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can always listen there. And then if you're listening on iTunes, you can head to YouTube. We have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/theJediTrials, so you can see our beautiful faces. All right, go ahead and do a pose for the camera, Mike, right now.
Oh, I'm smiling like my cheesiest smile ever right now.
Okay, good. So you can see our faces on there if you want, and if that sounds like a terrible idea, you can always listen to the audio instead.
Yeah.
Social media, we're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Just search The Jedi Trials, and then of course, if you would like to pledge and help support the show moving forward, we're on Patreon.com/The Jedi Trials. Mike, that's about it. Any last thoughts, shout outs?
I don't think so. Probably, but I can't remember. So
we could shout out old Tiny Grimes.
Yeah,
Destiny content again.
Shout out to Tiny Grimes making Destiny content again. I was on the most recent episode of the Smuggler's Den, so check that out. Yeah, excited to have him back in the community.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we wish many great legendary polls stuff this week.
Oh yeah, have so much fun with Way of the Force, everybody. That is definitely what we're gonna part you with.
Yeah, absolutely. We pray many grievous wheel bikes on you.
Tier 1, 5-star card.
That's right. Commando Raid out.
My review is coming.
All right, thanks guys. Thanks for tuning in, and may the dice be with you.
Bye guys.